Hello, this is Empath Abroad and welcome to my channel. As you are here, I do hope that you will like the video, give a comment for something that stands out for you. And if you do enjoy my message and what I'm sharing here with you, please consider becoming a subscriber. It really means a lot. I realize all the years that I've been living abroad, I've never really had like a channel that I really talked a lot about like just living abroad and like my experiences and like using this to help other people who may want to go abroad as well. It's the holiday season, so with this video I really wanted to talk about my experiences or like standout memories of celebrating holidays abroad. So I definitely have a few that stand out and I wanted to share them. Also, as far as where I live, I currently live in South Korea, and this is a country that I've lived in the most since 2011. All the years together, it's been about 7 years that I've lived in South Korea since 2011. So a lot of these memories are from South Korea. Also, if you're someone who is interested in what it's like to live abroad, maybe perhaps South Korea specifically, or you just want to rack my brain about living abroad, what it's like to move abroad, then please check out my link below. If you'd like to schedule a call to talk with me, I'd be so glad to be there and to support you and to talk with you one-on-one. So yeah, these are going to be 5 holiday memories that stand out the most to me because I feel like my life abroad in general has really molded my adulthood. Like I'll be 40 next summer, and I almost can't believe that because I still remember being in high school and time really goes so fast. And I just think of how these experiences have really molded who I am and just the interactions, the conversations I've had with people I've met in these years of living overseas. It's just been really life-changing and it helps me get to know myself even better. So also happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating at this time of the year. I hope it's great. So first memory, what that stands out. So I remember a New Year's Eve that I spent, actually wait, before I go to that one, let me start with Thanksgiving, my very, very first holiday abroad. So this was 2007 and I was studying abroad in Spain. And this was my first time, again, celebrating a major holiday outside of the States. At that point, I'd been in Spain just about 3 months. And I didn't know how I was gonna feel on the day of Thanksgiving, but I remember waking up and I just felt so homesick. Like I just felt like, just like this sadness because I thought of all the foods that I was loving that I wasn't gonna be able to try. I was like remembering, watching the Macy's Day Parade, like on TV. That was like a big thing in our house. And being with my grandma, my mom, and my siblings, and my relatives. And I just felt really like homesick. I didn't really expect it to be that strong. I think I cried a little bit. I was able to make a phone call to my family just to wish them a happy Thanksgiving and just tell them how much I missed them. Now, thankfully, my program, they were already prepared for this because they already had on our schedule of activities for that semester. They told us that there would be like a Thanksgiving dinner that we could, it wasn't mandatory to go, but if you wanted to join in, you just signed up. And they took us to dinner at a Spanish restaurant. So that was better than nothing. I knew that I had something to look forward to that evening, that I was gonna be able to be in the company of others, have a nice dinner, and just allow myself to get some connection and togetherness with other people who were also in the same shoes as me, who were missing their family overseas. So I can say for sure that was like the most standout as far as homesickness. As of now, though, I don't really get homesick at all. I think that I've just grown into a sense of peace and alignment and understanding that living abroad is where I thrive the most. And I am comfortable and I feel that I don't have that homesickness anymore. And plus, I feel like there's so much food that I can still get in Korea. Now, there are some foods that I still miss. Like I am still dying to have some sweet potato pie. You can find yams and sweet potatoes here, and they do make sweet potato desserts in Korea, but not like an American style sweet potato pie. So that is one thing I really miss the most. But there's a lot of Western style foods, a lot of restaurants that have like those soul food, comfort foods. So you can still get that in Korea. Actually, there's a place right down the street from me that does serve like mashed potatoes, mac and cheese bites, and burritos and pastas and like, you know, those Western American style foods. So if I want my fix, I know where to get it. So not missing those types of tastes in that regard. But yeah, that first Thanksgiving at 21 abroad, I was so distraught, so sad. So it was tough. It was tough. So, but yeah, so mentioning the New Year's Eve, I remember my first New Year's Eve in Korea in 2011, and I didn't know what my plans would be, but I ended up going to this club in the downtown area where I lived. And I'm not a big clubber. Not even back then, not even now. So that particular moment though, I was just like, I want to do something in Korea really big. I want to like just do something, because I was just excited, like in Asia, and I just wanted to go. I didn't tell anybody I was going to a club because it was so impromptu. I didn't have time to be like, oh, do you want to go with me? I went downtown, took myself to dinner. A few hours before that, I was hanging out with some teachers in my neighborhood for like some games and like some snacks at one of the teachers' houses. So we were all kind of hanging out there, but I was like, yeah, I want to go out and just kind of do something. So I saw this flyer for like a New Year's Eve like event at this club, and it was like right a block over. So I went. I'm like the only foreigner there. I didn't really care though. Only thing I did care about afterwards was just how smoky it was. Like I literally had the scent of like cigarette smoke from head to toe. My jacket, my coat, my hair, everything was like full of cigarette smoke. But I was like, I had a good time. It was so fun. They gave free drinks to everybody at midnight, and I just like danced. I had a few conversations with some Koreans who like saw me there, and they're like, oh, who is this foreigner? What, who is she? We're curious about her. And I just like danced, because I'm like, nobody knows me. No one's really gonna bother me. And what's crazy is because I knew I had crossed a new threshold as far as how safe I felt living in Korea, because I didn't even care that I was going to be out late, because I had been out late like around 11 before, but I just knew like I can just get in a cab, pay for the ride. It'll take 35 to 45 minutes to get me home, and I just don't really fear for my safety. So I literally left the club after midnight, got a taxi, and rode back. The taxi let me off. At this time, like I really didn't know how to give like the best directions to my apartment. So anytime I got a cab ride, I always had them let me off like at this supermarket, because I felt that was the easiest landmark to give them. And then from the supermarket, I would just walk home. And so, yeah, it's after midnight, at this point, almost 1 a.m., because the taxi ride took about, again, like 45 minutes. So I'm getting home, smell like cigarette smoke, but I'm just like, wow, I would never do this in the States. I would never be in a cab after midnight on New Year's Eve, walking home. Like, there's no one shooting. In the States, there might be some gunshots, but I was like, wow, I feel so safe to actually do this. And I really did have a good time at the club. And actually, I think that's the only club experience I've had like that. But I just had a good time. And I'm glad I did that, because I still have not done that again. But that was a really great New Year's Eve going into 2012. And speaking of that, I had another New Year's Eve experience in 2012. And some of these other experiences are also like date related, because I've had these encounters where like I'm out somewhere, and then like I've met this guy, and we just end up talking, and we end up hanging out for a few hours. So the following year, when it was 2012, going into 2013, I took the train up to Seoul for a couple of days, and I don't know how I met this guy, but we ended up crossing paths somewhere. I don't know if it was on the street, at a coffee shop, but we just ended up talking and just like having all this conversation. And I don't know if he was like visiting Seoul or if he worked in Seoul but was just up there for a few days like me. But we just ended up like hanging out, and we didn't really know what our plans would be for New Year's Eve. Like I didn't really know what events were going to be up in Seoul. This was pre-smartphone, so it's not like I could just pull up my phone and like open up Google. But we just were like, well, let's just kind of walk around and see what happens. Actually, I think I'm getting a memory. I think he may have known about something, because we ended up going to this spot in Central Seoul where there was like this big outdoor New Year's Eve countdown event. So we ended up just like finding a spot in the crowd and just like talking. It's super cold. It's Korea cold. Waiting for the countdown. And yeah, we just talked. I don't even remember what state he was from. I know he was from the States. I know his name was Steven. But we just had a good time. Like after that, I think we made plans to meet up the next day before, I think he had to get on the train or something, but we just wanted to meet up one more time just to like say goodbye. And that was just a cool memory. It had like this before sunset kind of vibe. If you know before sunset, you know, the premise is this guy and this lady, they meet on this train in Europe and they strike up a conversation, and then they just spend the rest of the night to the morning just together, and they fall in love. And it's like, it's just that one moment in time where they just are like, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen. And so it wasn't like that in my regard. We didn't like fall in love, but it was just like, you know, we just kind of hung out, we had a vibe, and we just chilled, and it was good. So that was kind of fun. And speaking of before sunset memories, I had I had another one. This was in 2011. So actually it was also 2011 in December. So it wasn't like on Christmas, but it was like around this time of December, like mid-December. And I went up to Seoul, and I was trying to go there for this event. It was like a singing choir event. I wanted to like join this choir and just sing with them, but the directions, the location that they gave in the invite was like unfindable. I couldn't find where it was. Prior to going there though, as I'm getting ready to leave the subway, this guy approaches me, and I guess he's like, oh, are you lost? Can I help you? And he just decides to just kind of like be my chaperone and just kind of help me find this place. I don't find the place, so he's just like, well, you know, we should still kind of hang out anyway. Like, you came all this way, you know, from your city, you got on the train and rode 3 hours up here. We should hang out, we should do something. So he's like, what do you like? And I was like, oh, well, you know, are there like any good, like, no, actually he recommends, he's like, oh, well, there's like a jazz club that we can go to. They have like some shows. And I was like, okay, well, show me where it is. Let's go. And yeah, we just ended up having like this date at this jazz club. And yeah, he's like really gentlemanly and just nice. And I was like, I don't know where this guy came from, but he was pretty cool. And we actually ended up meeting up the next day because I guess he was like, again, in the before sunset vibe. He's like, oh, are you still gonna be here tomorrow? Because it was like a Saturday. My train was gonna leave on Sunday. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be leaving like Sunday afternoon. He's like, oh, well, we should like meet up for brunch. I wanna, you know, see you again. So we ended up meeting for brunch and, you know, hanging out. And he's ended up staying with me until I had to get on my train because he went with me to the train station. And I was just like, this is quite interesting. So actually that whole encounter needs another video in itself because, you know, we ended up meeting up again a couple years later when I came back to Korea. So that's another story for another time. But that was like the part one of us meeting, and then we ended up reconnecting again a couple years later. But for that first encounter, like, he just kind of took it upon himself to want to hang out and just plan the date, and it was a great time. And yeah, it was Christmas of 2011, like mid-December. And yeah, I think it was a good memory. And I think what's interesting is because I feel like these experiences are things that I didn't really have in the States. Like, I felt that there was this sort of like more openness that I had when it came to those kinds of encounters. Like, this could be another video about like, you know, dating overseas, but I always felt like I could kind of be more open and receptive. And again, I know not every woman has had this experience living overseas. I know that there are women who have stories where they were taken advantage of, where they did not have the best encounter with someone, so I don't want to discount those situations as well. I feel very fortunate that I did not have those experiences and that I was able to feel safe and to be in the place to meet those who did have my at least my best interest at heart, and I felt safe and less on guard in that way, and I felt that I could really relax. And again, that whole taking the cab from a club after midnight on New Year's Eve, wow, that is definitely a next level of safety. So I'm trying to see if I went down the full list. Oh, and another one which also I really loved, that I got to also enjoy volunteer opportunities in Korea. There was an orphanage in one of the cities I used to live in, and they did a lot of outreach for the children who lived there, and I volunteered with this group in my city, and we did like activities with the kids. Like it would be like every other Sunday or every Sunday we would just go there and like read them stories. There was like a nursery for like orphan babies who just needed someone to hold them and play with them and pick them up. And so every Christmas they did like a Christmas gift event for the kids where we would prepare gifts, wrap them up. They had like activities and games. So we would just spend a few hours on the weekend before Christmas, or at least close to Christmas, and just have like this big Santa day. They would have the guy who was the organizer, he would dress up as Santa, and we would give the kids these gifts. We would have activities with them, some games, and it was just a really, really special moment, like all of us coming together to volunteer and to just be a part of these kids' Christmas memory. And some of them, you know, not knowing, you know, what their Christmas would look like, those who didn't have a mom and dad who would be there to take care of them. It's like they really relied upon this annual Christmas event to light their day, to bring them joy. And that's really special. And that wasn't something I got to experience in that same degree when I was in the States. So that was a really special Christmas. It was, 2012. So yeah, a lot of these were like 2011, 2012, like the 2000s, 2010s. And so as far as like this Christmas, I won't say yet because the plans I made actually had to get changed as of 2 days ago. I had plans to go to one specific place for the holidays, but I decided, giving some things that came up in the news about this place, I decided maybe I should postpone the trip just to kind of play it safe. So I don't want to say what they are yet. I might wait till I'm there to do the video, but I really do want to spend Christmas outside of Korea and just enjoy a new environment and just to kind of reset. I've been working really hard at my job. This is a really busy time of the year in a way that I haven't experienced before. The school I work at, we are having a Christmas performance for the kids, so we're also helping the kids with their dance and their script, and there's just a lot that's going on. So I just want to really allow myself the chance to relax and decompress and hopefully have a wonderful, who knows, impromptu Christmas or New Year's Eve experience and just enjoy what the new year's gonna be. So 2026, pretty special. It's going to be a special year, and I hope that this video was I hope you enjoyed these stories with me and me sharing these moments and memories. If you like this video, if you stayed to the end, please leave a like, comment on something that stood out for you, subscribe to the channel, support the journey. And again, if you'd like to talk with me one-on-one about life abroad, living abroad, maybe moving to Korea, how to teach in Korea, then please book a call with me. I'd be glad to talk with you one-on-one and go from there. So thank you, happy holidays, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Oh, actually, I don't know if I even said my name in the video, but Empath Abroad, and my name is Selena. Thank you for being here.